Okay, so let's get into this play. Okay, so the play is called Shots.
Yes.
Yes, and it is going to be, the first day is October 20th.
Friday the 20th, Saturday the 21st, Sunday 22nd, and the following Friday, Saturday, and then a matinee goes Sunday, which is the weekend of the 27th.
Okay, right. So you told us what it's about. I want to know, where is it going to be? It's going to be at the Palm Beach Institute? Is that where it's going to be?
Yes.
Okay. So you guys, if you want to go, you should, because it's going to be good. I'm going, so it's going to be good.
And the number to call for reservations is 561-743-9955. Where's the number? Right there.
And I'm going to put it at the bottom of the screen too, you guys.
Link in bio.
Yes, link in bio. I'm going to put it right here at the bottom. I'm probably doing it the wrong way. Right here at the bottom, I'm going to put the name. I'm going to put the phone number. Yeah. So what makes this play? First of all, who is the writer of this play?
Well, this came out of a writing class at the Institute.
Wow.
That Donna Carbone teaches. And one of her students, Christina Karablick, who was 18 at the time, wrote and most of it, and Donna Carbone helped her brush it up, basically. And there was a version of it put up about 5 years ago. Donna rewrote it, changed things around a little bit, and added another character, and that's the version we're doing now.
It's going to be some powerful. It's really powerful. I read a little bit of it, and just hearing, first of all, guns is such a serious thing that's going on right now. Yep. You know, kids bringing guns to schools, kids are shooting people. Guns are so serious. People do not use their hands anymore. No. They will go get a gun to shoot someone. Mm-hmm. So for you guys to be doing this play right now, I just felt like it was so powerful and needed for people to hear, you know?
Ripped from the headlines.
Yeah. So what makes this play different from other plays that are out?
Well, one thing is, it's not pro-gun or anti-gun, but it's anti-gun violence. Mm-hmm. And that's the key. And one of the characters likens it to the Wild West. And who was the correct one in the Wild West? Probably the one who prevailed, because now they can write the history and tell the story. And that's not always the way things really are. Mm-hmm. And it's just such a shame that and by the time this airs, there probably will have been another one.
Yeah.
It won't just be the one that was in Nashville, the one up in Minnesota, or where was the one? Was it Arizona?
Arizona.
Yes. And see, I can't even keep track of it, you know, and that's
it's
in the
horrible.
past couple of weeks.
It's horrible. And not to even touch the topic, my first love got killed by guns, violence. And it wasn't even meant for him. Mm-hmm. I literally got the call one night and they said, well, he got shot. Mm-hmm. And I've had so many friends who've gotten killed. I've had so many friends who've caused the killings that are in prison right now. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, why is that the answer? Mm-hmm. So this play I can relate to, because I've lost a lot of people from gun violence. A lot of my classmates that I graduated high school with are either in prison or they're dead.
Yeah.
Because of guns.
Yeah.
And my generation is really where it started with guns, like the violence and people not using their hands or using their words and being adults and having a conversation. They just want to pull out a gun and shoot someone. And then you don't even realize you took somebody's life. That's somebody's daughter, somebody's son. Mm-hmm. Like my ex-mom, that was her only boy. Mm. Her only boy. And it was her baby on top of that.
Wow.
That was her last child, and that was her only boy. And she lost him. And not even to get into it, I didn't know that the girl was pregnant, but he had a girlfriend who was pregnant. Mm. So now that this girl is raising her child by herself, and it's not even her fault that the dad's not in the child's life.
Yeah.
So it's just like, it's serious. And it's something that I think a lot of people should go see, you know, because for someone to be 18, there had to be some powerful in that girl's heart to even make something like this. Mm-hmm. Because it's a very serious situation,
right?
You know. So, who are the actors in the play? Let's mention some of these actors.
And it's a multi-racial international cast.
I love that.
Yep. We have a young lady who's from Spain, Marta Perez. We have a young lady who is from Jamaica. Her name is Pamela Forrest. And then we have Brian Medina, who's a wonderful actor. He's born in Miami of Cuban heritage. His parents came here.
Oh, wow.
And then we have Haley Dye, wonderful young actress. This is her first play. She was in our classes earlier. This is her first production. Also, Marcia Foster, who has appeared in a few other shows with us, but this is the first one in a little while. We're very happy to have her back. Harry Miller and Rhonda Stearns play the married couple, and they do a very, very good job of it. I've known Rhonda for many years. Harry's a good friend. And then as the barista, we have Steve Murley, and he is not only a former military who was stationed in Operation Desert Storm and Operation Desert Shield, but also for almost 30 years with the Broward County Sheriff's Office. And he recently has retired as well and returned to acting.
That's beautiful.
Yes.
And have any of these other people, other than the person you just said, because obviously he returned, that's the only person who's their first time acting? Everybody else has acting different
Haley
places.
is the only one where this is her first play. Yes.
So how was she like? She's a great actor?
Well, her character is a college student at the medical school. Mm-hmm. And the world is so new and shiny to her. And that's the way she approaches it.
Oh, wow.
So because of her age and the pairing with that character, and there again, that goes with the director and the casting and those aspects. I couldn't have cast Brian that way because he's a little bit more worldly. And Harry, being older, obviously couldn't play a role of that sort either. So there's a lot of issues in pre-production that will affect the overall show.
And that's what people fail to realize. Being a director, and when you pick your cast, you have to realize who your person is that you're picking. You know what I'm saying? Like it has to be some type of combination of who the actor is to the character.
Absolutely.
So people think like when they don't get picked, it's like, oh no, they don't like me. No, that's not it. Sometimes maybe you're just not right for that character. Maybe just sometimes you're not the right person. You don't fit the characteristic. And it's sad to say, but it is the truth, and that's how the world works. You know what I'm saying?
Here's where it gets worse. Because let's just say you might have the perfect person for that part, but we don't have the perfect person for them to play against. If that balance isn't there, now we can't use that player.
Yeah.
Now we have to hopefully find somebody that the fit is better. But you couldn't have a 30-year-old playing the boyfriend of this young college student. Yeah.
So do you guys have understudies?
We have one young lady. Marcia is kind of like the designated understudy for all the roles. And she's been sitting in rehearsals when somebody couldn't make it and things like that. Her part is as a reporter. And boy, she nails this cynical. And our media, unfortunately, today, they report on this thing and they go, we'll be right back with puppies. And you're like, weren't you just reporting on a tragedy and a fire and a death and a crash and a thing? And
so she just multi-talented.
Here comes puppies.
That's cool.
Yeah, but she's a very skilled actress as well.
So this is the last question about the play. What do you want people to take from this play? What do you want people to learn?
Well, to learn they don't know what they should know, I think is probably the best way. And there's so much more information out there. Florida recently changed the carry law. We now have what is called an open, unpermitted carry. Well, it's not open because it has to be concealed. But you cannot take it into a bar. You cannot take it into a school. You cannot take it into certain other places, music venues, things like that. And it has to be concealed. So that's doesn't mean you can go buy a gun and know how to use it because you're not being trained.
Exactly.
And even if you buy a gun and go get trained on that gun and you know how to use it, guess what? Now you go buy a different gun. That's going to act differently. The caliber, the size of the magazine, all sorts of different issues.
What people don't understand.
Yes, and it's, as we say in the play, our barista says it. He says it's not a toy. It's not a movie prop.
That's wild. And
we had that tragedy in that film with that guy who is still pending charges. Okay,
and it's I had
it's
his child.
I had an incident. I almost had a horrible incident, but it wasn't horrible. Thank the good Lord above. But I handed somebody a starter pistol to use in this one particular scene where they come in with a gun, pretending it's supposed to be a squirt gun. But I had a starter pistol; it was unloaded, and the guy started going pap pap pap. Whoa! Stop it! What are you doing? He had no idea. And there's a way to handle the gun. You clear the gun. Even if you know the gun's been cleared, you clear it again because you don't know what's happened. Could there be Brandon Lee was killed because the wadding of a blank was in the barrel. And another blank shell, which had a bigger load than most because they were looking for a noisier report, it pushed the wadding of the old blank that didn't come all the way out of the shell into his head.
Oh my!
And he's dead.
Gosh!
How can you get killed by a blank? Well, that's Brandon Lee.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah. So
even that situation with the whole situation, that was his child. Yep. He lost the other guy. That was his child.
Bruce Lee. Yep.
Yeah.
Right. Do not play with guns. They are not toys.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, and people don't even realize, even though it's a fake gun, like, it is very serious. Okay, them blanks. Have you ever been hit with a paint gun before? I know them hurt. So just imagine a blank, and even like the guns that like when it was like the whole situation happened with George Floyd. I was marching a lot, and the cops had, I don't know, the
rubber bullets.
Them things look like they hurt, baby.
They do hurt.
Once I seen it, I ran because I don't want any problems. I just came here for peace. See, y'all trying to start a riot.
And then there's the other stuff people never talks about. That way, that was horrible English.
It's okay.
But they say just the noise from a gun can blow out somebody's eardrum. You don't realize it, and that's one of the things that happens on a film set. Sometimes it's too close to somebody's ear, and it can be an issue.
Yes, and people don't realize that, and it could blow your eardrum so bad. Like, have you ever been close to a gun before? I have, and even the loud sound. I don't even like.
You get that ringing for 3 days.
Yes, I don't even like going to clubs because of the ringing of the music. So I could just imagine a bullet. I don't even like fireworks. I'm not gonna cap. Fireworks is just so loud. I just be like, Lord Jesus, it's just too much going on. So I need you guys to go. Just go to the play. And even if you don't go to one of his plays. He's an amazing director. But we have a game, you guys. This is a new game. It's called The Hot Seat. Are you ready, guys?
I don't know. The cold weather's here. The seat's not too hot.
It's called
Do I need the glasses for this?
Yes.
I should get glasses with a little nose on them.
You should. You should. That would be so cute.
That's the pre-production of your show.
Yes, I should. I have like so many like shades. It's ridiculous.
All right, I'm getting serious now. We're on the hot seat. This is the hot seat.
The hot seat. If you had magic. Wait, if you had... Okay, restart. Okay. This is called the hot seat.
It's called Take Two.
Take Two. This is called the hot seat. If you had magic, what show would you do next?
That's what. Now, the way you said magic 3 times when you're asking the question because we had to start and stop.
Yes.
So what popped into my head? There was a really cool show made in South Florida called Magic City.
Really?
And it was set back in the 50s, and a lot of my friends did it. I was cast to do something in it, and unfortunately, then the show got canceled.
Wow.
But Taylor Blackwell was a series regular. My buddy Robert Kahn. I've only recently learned I've been mispronouncing his name for 10 years. Robert Kahn played James Caan's driver, and a lot of other people. Steve Merliak was in it. One of our cast members was in Magic City as well. So for some reason, Magic City pops into my head. It was a great period piece, and Jeffrey Dean Morgan was the star. So was Danny Houston.
Oh wow!
From Walking Dead and
some heavy hitters. And let me tell you something. I love. Let me phrase myself. I love Walking Dead.
So you know Jeffrey Dean Morgan?
Yes, I watched every season.
Okay. Well, I had a really good friend on there who I think his name was played the character of Grandpa or Uncle somebody.
I know he's talking about
Scott Wilson. Yes, unfortunately he passed away a few years back. He had a diabetic is what happened. It was a diabetic situation that he passed away from a diabetic seizure.
Oh my gosh!
But he was a gifted actor. His first role was in a great film called In Cold Blood against Robert Blake.
Oh wow!
And you know how intense Robert Blake is.
Yes.
He matched him word for word. He was really a solid performer, and he was also in The Great Gatsby, ironically playing a character named Wilson. And he was in a movie with Mr. Reynolds called Malone, and they had talked about possibly getting together and doing a project, but and they both passed away relatively close to one another. Actually,
they did. It was very close. It was very shocking as well. Yes. I kind of cried. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
It was very, very heartbreaking. For me, first of all, I love The Great Gatsby. Let's talk about that. But Walking Dead, that's how I really found out who he was through Walking Dead. And I was just like, this man is a great actor. director.
Yeah.
Because first of all, they really made me think the zombie eclipse was really happening. The way they played in that thing, you would think that the zombies is real.
Yep.
And I was just like, what? This is beautiful. This is just beautiful.
Yeah.
So,
Good question. Thank you.
You're welcome. What is the worst play you have ever directed?
Oof. I'm gonna say it's probably Neil Simon's The Sunshine Boys.
Okay.
And here's where we talk about the script. Fantastic award-winning script, and it's been made into films and constantly being in production. Well, we had two actors that didn't understand the geography of the set. Mm-hmm. So they're supposed to go into the doctor's office, and they're doing their vaudeville skit in this doctor's office. Well, the nurse walked right through the wall and knocked the whole thing down. Now, luckily, her character is a bit of a ditz.
Oh, okay.
So the two actors on stage were able to kind of make some references to her being confused and things like that too. And then the old lady next door did the same thing through a different wall later. And you're
like, what is going on?
What is going on here? Yeah.
Literally, like, did we not practice?
Yeah, so it was a comedy of errors, and that performance was at a condo down in Delray Beach. But wow. That was probably the worst single performance.
That sounds horrible.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, what makes a good director?
Probably communication, empathy, and knowing the script.
Yes, and that's important.
Right. Before we ever did the auditions, I had to read through the script. I just read it 3 or 4 times. Mm-hmm. And you put it aside, and then you pick it up, and you go, what was that part about that thing? And you go and you look it up, and you reread that, and you go, oh, yeah, that's a cool thing there.
And that's what makes a good director, mm-hmm. knowing your plays. A lot of these directors don't be knowing their plays, and that's why things don't be going as good as they want to, because you don't know what you're talking about. You're not just
moving chess players around.
Exactly. You got to know what you're doing. And that's why, one of my students did an interview about Tyler Perry. Mm. She loves Tyler Perry. Like, that is her favorite, director. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, she's very shy and quiet. And I'm like, you can't, she wants to be a director. I was like, you can't be a director being shy and quiet. Yeah. Like, you have to put yourself out there. You have to actually, I was like, you think Tyler Perry stayed in the box? He was the first man. And people could say what they want to say, because I did talk about him on my podcast before, because he had said something that kind of made me upset. But Tyler Perry is a great director. And people don't understand, this man was probably one of the first people to get on stage and address in a wig and not care what nobody say.
Well, in current society, but we can go all the way back to, Jonathan Winters, amazing comic with his Maud Frickert. Mm-hmm. Milton Berle in the 50s, he did the same kind of thing. There's always been silliness with a dress, so he puts it on. And we'll go all the way back to Shakespeare. Females were not allowed. There were no actresses.
No.
So young boys would generally play the parts of the females before their voices had changed. Yeah. So, no, but it wasn't about any of that other stuff. It was just because women did not do it.
And which is kind of sucks. But you know what's my favorite plays? And this is completely off topic. It's Phantom of the Opera. Well, musical.
Okay.
My favorite musical is Phantom of the Opera. I could watch it over and over.
And how would you describe that? How would you describe the Phantom of the Opera?
I think it's a beautiful play about love, and I think that the man that was the Phantom, he was just hurting. Mm-hmm. He was scared. He didn't want people to see his face. Yep. He didn't want people to know about him. He was haunting the theater, but at the same time, he just wanted love. And people overlook that, but I love that play. That play is it touches my heart. Sure. Do you like Phantom of the Opera?
It's really great, and there's all kind of variations of it too. And there's that's the common thing about the unrequited love that people try and, how do I get that? And that's how many different therapy books are there out there about love your neighbor, love yourself, love your life. Men are from Venus, men are from Mars. Learn how to love on your right planet, or whatever it might be. All those different things.
Yes.
And so I know there's a couple of the pop gurus in the 60s. They basically said the essence of most human communication is "I love you, please love me."
Mm-hmm.
And when you kind of think about it, that's what we basically really want. Now, of course, we have our other needs of shelter, food, and fire, and all that other stuff. And that's oh, they're taking my food, they're taking my shelter. That's when the love breaks down.
Yeah, and love is hard. Mm-hmm. Next time we get into that, so people know I talk about it on my podcast all the time. Love is so hard. Even though I'm in a relationship, but it took a long time for us to get here, and it took a long time for me to get with somebody that loves me like I love them. You know,
excellent. Congratulations.
So thank you. What is your biggest pet peeve? Like, what's one thing that just grinds your gears?
I'll tell you what, right now, the thing that's really grinding my gears is when the TV newscasters will not have the noun-pronoun agreement. Lala Edwards, she is a podcast host. No, not Lala Edwards, she. Lala Edwards is a podcast host.
Yeah, they make stuff easy for them.
She is a podcast host. Mm-hmm. Not both.
Yeah.
And with the horrors, I heard somebody recently, I overheard this when I was getting guests. This is horrible, but it's ridiculously funny. They said something about the problems in Gaza. And the guy said, "Oh, I didn't hear anything about that." And they said what it was. And the guy said, he goes, "Is that in Texas?" And so one of my other pet peeves is, the lack of
knowledge.
Just general knowledge. Situational awareness. Wow. Going down the street, there's somebody texting and they're weaving. That's not only offensive, it's dangerous.
And first of all, saying something like that, baby, you finna get canceled. Because first of all, the situation that's going on right now is very, very touchy for some people. That's why I don't want to even talk about it for real. I'm just praying for both places because it is a very touchy topic.
Oh, sure.
And for you to say it's in Texas, baby, you need to get fired.
Right. Well, thank God it wasn't me.
You need to get fired.
Well, he might have already been unemployed.
Yes. Yeah, obviously.
Right.
So what has been one of the worst jobs you ever had?
Oh, one of the worst jobs I've ever had. I've been very fortunate.
That's good.
I really, really have. I got a job in a hotel because I was going to Palm Beach Junior College at the time, and I wanted a place where I could do my homework at night. I got a job at the front desk, and for a little while I was being able to do some of my homework, but then I started getting more and more involved, and they started giving me more things to do. I called the Curse of Competency, which was one of the papers I wrote based on that experience. And I went to another hotel where I kept getting promoted, and that hotel closed, and the family of the general manager had another business, and they took me over there. And then I started getting very busy with acting and things like that too. And a guy I'd worked for at a comedy club saw me, and he wanted me to do some stuff at the Improv Comedy Traffic School. So I started doing that, and around the same time I got involved with Kathy Rollins from Standing Rolling Productions, which is who I do the Last of the Red Lovers play with, which is coming up in February. We'll have a link to that one as well. That's going to be a very fun. I direct and I act in that one.
Super exciting.
And that was cooking along very, very nicely. And then I got involved at the Burt Reynolds Institute. I was the executive director there, and throughout all of it, I just went and it was, I surfed the wave into the next thing.
Yeah, my first job.
So the worst job I had was, I don't know, maybe one of those days on one of those jobs, but I certainly can't remember it. I don't dwell on it.
That's great that you had a great experience with job. I think my first job was one of my worst. I was a dietary aide. I hated it.
Why?
It was just a lot in the area that I worked in. The nursing home that I worked in was very, I'm not going to use the word. It was very ratchet. It was very ratchet, and it was a lot. And the people, because I was young and I was still in high school, they would try to run over me.
Well, that's wrong. But you have to learn that people in that situation are even less happy than they should be.
They are, and they still doing the same things they was doing before.
Yeah.
And it's just the same. So I just be looking at them like, child, y'all hated me so bad. I was 16, 17 years old. No, I think I was like 18, 17. And y'all like 30. Why are you beefing with me and you're 30? You're old enough to my mom, for real.
Yeah.
Like, you just have to relax.
Right.
So, what is your favorite genre of film? Like, movies? Like, what is your favorite genre? Mine is horror.
Well, I'm going to have to say good, well-done films. In fact, I teach a film history class at the Palm Beach Institute on Sunday afternoons.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
We do a Q&A. It's on hiatus right now, but it's going to come back another couple of weeks. We will pick out a film, like say, for instance, we were doing the final films of, and then a certain star. We did the final film with John Wayne, which is a wonderful, wonderful film called The Shootist. And Ron Howard was in it. Lauren Bacall was in it. Wonderful, because John Wayne was nearing the end of his career at the time. It wasn't planned to be his final film, but it wound up being his final film. And so we had lively Q&A about it as well, and things like that. We also did The Misfits, which was the final film for Marilyn Monroe.
Oh, I love Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah.
I have a picture of her in my room.
Oh, do you? Yeah.
Yes, I love Marilyn Monroe.
She transcends time and
beautiful. She's never gonna not be Marilyn Monroe.
Right. Montgomery Clift was also his final film.
Oh wow!
And here's your trivia question: who is the star of Gone with the Wind? Played Brett Butler.
I don't even know.
Oh, come on!
I'm not gonna lie. But my mom, she loves that.
Okay.
She does. She probably can tell you all that. Okay. I don't know.
Well, that's how we discuss all this different stuff. So you have 3 questions we have to answer. Remember the first one?
Yes. The people who work on the station that was actually like football players and worked in sports.
Okay, there's 2 guys there. And then the third one, who was, I should use that finger. The third one is, who was the star of Gone with the Wind, who was also the star of The Misfits, which was his final film.
Okay.
He got so upset with Marilyn Monroe being late to the set, which was based on her own insecurities, apparently, that he got stressed out and he had a heart attack, I think 6 days after filming wrapped up. She died about 6 months later, and Montgomery Clift was about a year later. But wonderful film. And there's a metaphor with these wild horses. It was made in 1961. And wild horses in the Nevada desert. And it's the only state in the United States still where horses roam free. Wild horses. And the Rolling Stones sang about them.
Really?
Wild horses. You've heard that song.
Yes, I have heard that song. Right. I did not know that. They even had a city that still do that. I would love to see a horse just walking.
I take it back. There's the islands coast of North Carolina, but those are different types. They're not the Mustangs. They're their own little breed of horse up there.
Okay, I get that.
Anyway, so we talked about all those different things. So there's 2 totally different types of films. One's a Western, and the other is a black and white film. We also we did John Huston, wonderful director. Danny Huston's father. We talked about him briefly earlier. And he directed his daughter, Angelica Huston, in that with Jack Nicholson.
Oh, wow.
And it was called Pritzi's Honor. And it was a Jack Nicholson you haven't seen in any other film, because instead of Marlon Brando putting the cotton in his mouth, back in his jaw, Nicholson put it up under his top lip. So he's going around the whole film talking about the Fritzis. Hey, what's going on with the Fritzis? And you're going, that's wow, Jack Nicholson really is an actor. He's not just a personality. And wonderful film. Kathleen Turner is his romantic interest and co-star in that, and at her glamorous best, and things like so. We do some kind of a film. We do a lot of classic Hollywood. We did Now Voyager with Betty Davis recently, and so all kind of different things. So I just like well-made films, regardless of genre. There's a horror film called Strange Invaders with Paul LeMat, and I
feel like I've heard of it before.
It's from about 30 years ago, but it's a spoof of the 50s ones that were done poorly. And in that context, this is done very, very well, but with modern special effects at that time. So it so it has to be a good film. I don't know how to describe it per se.
So what is one of your happiest, before we even get to it, this is the next one I have. So how do you feel about like remakes of other older plays and movies? And how do you feel like they should just keep some of the good stuff? Like, it's been like a lot of movies that has been remade, like Color Purple just got remade. Oh, really? Yes.
I didn't hear anything about
I think it's going to be good because Fantasia's in it. No, it's not out yet. Okay. Fantasia's in it. And the girl from Little Mermaid, Haley, she's in it as well. So I think it's gonna be good. We're gonna see. But they have a lot of movies that they do remakes of. And sometimes I just be like, you should just leave the movie alone.
Well, the beauty of it is that the remake does not affect the original. The original is still as good as it ever was. The problem with many of those remakes is they cannot make them with the grandeur that some of the original ones did. And I mentioned Gone with the Wind. There's no way you can make a remake of Gone with the Wind.
Yeah.
Because the first day of shooting, they literally burned down the back lot at Metro Goldwyn Mayer Studios. And there's the fire scene where the cart goes in front, he's yanking the horse, and it's a silhouette, and the building collapses.
Wow.
You cannot force that to happen with any CGI. That was real and it was legitimate. And the cast, when they had the shot of the wounded, both North and South wounded, there were 1,500 extras laying there.
Wow.
Now, there were scattered amongst them some dummies to fill in some of the shots further down. But you can't find 2,000 people to go do a shoot someday.
Yeah.
There's no way that can happen. And if you look at things like Back to the Future, more of a modern film, same kind of thing. Who could do that better?
Literally.
You know?
Literally.
Right. And then there's things like The Matrix, okay? Who could play those roles?
True.
But
better? You know, Jumanji, I'm not going to lie. They did good.
Well, here's the thing with Jumanji. That wasn't a remake. It was the next chapter. Because they went back and they found the kid.
Oh, yeah, they did.
So that's,
Yeah.
Okay. So that's one of the things, too. Well, The Longest Yard. The Adam Sandler version of The Longest Yard was totally different than the one from the 70s. But they got some of those actors in it and made it
I love when they do that. When they do a second part of a movie, I love that when they use like the actor, like the Addams Family.
Yep.
They used the daughter, the real original daughter.
Yep.
I was like, well, come on now, because they did their big one on that one. That one was good.
Oh yeah, and they did that one right.
They did that one
right.
So let's get into the next question. This is the last question because this has been so great. I don't want to stop. What is one of your happiest memories in life?
Happiest memories in life. You didn't tell me you were going to ask me this part of the hot seat. I try and do most of my things moment to moment and try and not have too many regrets. And where we are right now is a culmination. Had I not made a choice at some point years ago to not just be an actor, but to step over and go, talk to a producer and go, you know, I can help out with the directing if you need me to. And I get to be an assistant director. And then somebody else said this. And then Nick goes, you know, instead of being a director, why don't you be a producer? You can learn. And then, so all this stuff adds up. It's like the job history I was talking about. So I mean, it's all led to where we are right now. And it's not necessarily a joy, the most joy I've ever experienced, perhaps, but I'm pretty happy right now.
That's great. And this has been nice. And the guys, you get, again, please go to this play. Palm Beach. Yes, Palm Beach Institute. The date is October 20th. That's the first day of the play, which is a Saturday, right?
No, Friday night, 7 o'clock.
Oh, Friday. Okay. It's Friday.
Saturday the 21st, Sunday afternoon the 22nd, and the following Friday, Saturday and Sunday again, 27, 28, and 29.
Yes, and so you could call. Like I said, I'm going to put the number again at the bottom for the tickets. And this has been so nice. I'm grateful for you coming on, and I hope people take it. Like, you could be a director, okay? Don't stop yourself. Don't push your goals, because this man right here is an example that you could do it for years and be somebody and be successful and meet amazing people out of it. Like, just the amount of people that you just said you met, it's like, wow, you would look at you and you wouldn't even like think that you would be a director. But it's not about appearance. I feel like people.
That's one of those things too. Some people, I'm certainly not one to think I'm any better than anybody else, and just because of what I do doesn't mean I am, or not, for that matter. That goes back into, you kind of said something about earlier, what's in your heart, and you kind of, you know, I hold the door for people. You know, if somebody drops something, I try and pick it up if I'm closer to it or what have you. And that's about us all getting along. And that's the film set. You all got to get along, you know. It's a little bit of a cliche with Rodney King going back a ways. But, you know, that's also one of the things, too. I have met some amazing people. And you go, this guy knew Ernest Hemingway?
Right.
And you go, well, yeah, and that's why he limps, because he got shot, and Hemingway was the ambulance driver that pulled him out of the thing. And you're like, oh my God, really? You know, those types of things.
Yeah.
And you just never know. And I find that people that have the quiet confidence to, what are we here to do? We're here to take care of that. Okay, we can do that. Or no, that's not really my cup of tea. But then you find out later they don't want to do that because they wanted somebody else to have a shot doing it possibly. Things of that sort. I have been blessed by having mentors throughout my life that have said, hey, let's get this guy. And when I was teaching at the Improv Traffic School, the head of the company saw me in a thing, and he said, I want you to come into the office every once in a while. Next thing you know, I'm chief instructor. I had to drive to Miami. That was the bad part of my. There we go. The worst day of my life was I had to drive to Miami 5 days a week.
That sucks. And listen, I have people that work in my job that live in Fort Lauderdale and live in Port St. Lucie and drive up here every day.
But that's about choices too. You make different choices.
No.
So the traffic was the bad part, not the job. I obviously love the job.
Yeah, it's the traffic. Every time I go to Miami, I get anxiety, bro.
Sure.
They drive crazy.
Yep, they do. They do.
Let me tell you that Atlanta, Miami, Texas, and New York.
Texas, is that where Gaza is?
I guess so.
Yep.
I guess so. It's been nice. Thank you so much, Todd. This is great.
Well, it's been a pleasure being on and what's the exact title of this?
No.
Everybody's open to get kicked in the guts. Everybody.
Nobody's off limits. Like
Nobody's off limits.
If you guys love my podcast, please click the link at the bottom, okay? This podcast, we are seen. We are Black. We are amazing. We are everything phenomenal, okay? We are phenomenal people, and we should always remember that. And thank you.
The podcast has been produced at the CSB Media Center. Jim York is the head guru at the CSB Media Center group, including the Palm Beach Film School, the Connecticut School of Broadcasting, the Palm Beach Code School, and about 14 other things that nobody gives you a free soda from.
Bye, everybody.
Take care.
I'm a heartbreaker, but I got you next to me. On them lonely nights, girl, I need your therapy. You got your guard up and you threw away the key. But I knocked your guard down, cause my love in jeopardy. I'm a heartbreaker, but I got you next to me. All them lonely nights, girl,